Valentina Clavabuela Scat Bop Vildiva Gorm Canina Epic Furcorn Whiz Kid. This is basically a really long ramble. Involves Gaul. Aight, so the whole Prism Gate lore. While no one had died, Scatman seemed to be oddly avid in stopping it. Why? If it was just transformations, why the urgency? I believe that the Prism Gate is much deadlier than what was presented in the Gormverse. You see, the energy that WizKid fired at Scatbot mirror that of the transformations present in the Prism Gate. So number 1, WizKid energy equals Prism Gate energy. Also Whizbang is from the Prism Gate, so WizKid probs is too. Unleashed on this mortal realm. Number 2, we saw in the vidlever issue of Meet the _____ that Clavaver's hide the true reason of how to get to beat hereafter, and is shown sequentially to have a body bag, presumably with a dead monster inside. Now, I don't know a lot about Mexican culture. Coco and my Spanish teachers and bits of general knowledge are as deep as I go, but DOTD is meant as a bittersweet time reminiscent of loved ones. Calling a hitman on them sure doesn't seem sweet or loving. This leads us to Vidlever's parents' family. #2.5 Vidlever's parents consist of Valentina, her mom, and her deceased dad. How does that work? Her extended family goes to Clavabuela, her grandmama. Their relationship is far from friendly. Her mother only gives her food twice a week, forcing Gorm to use the Prism Gate or himself to deliver food to her behind her mom's watch. Clavabuela is not mentioned much in the canon as of writing this. The instances she was shown were in the family portrait, a caption, and her telling Gorm that his soul is corrupt. Her powers are unknown, like the mom's. Now we get into why this matters. We can assume the Clavar family takes pride in making sure that beat hereafter goes to plan. Even taking out monsters if they have to, which is probably 50% of the deaths to beat hereafter. This also has 5 layers, kinda like hell. Nothing interesting in themselves, just your heaven-passable hell stuff. However, I pose a theory. The Valentina and Clavabuela managed to harness the magical energy needed to summon a Prism Gate, and decided that they could achieve mass death and keep their sacred promise. Outrageous, right? Well, you see, Vidlever's father was seemingly unable to be saved before dying, despite no signs of bone elementals being able to get sick. He showed no signs of injury. Scatbop was unable to save him in his far-gone state. You see, Vidlever has a death touch, an arc which was covered upon for a while around October and ending around mid-late November. It followed Vidlever's death powers and Gorm basically becoming null inside to overpower it. It also seems to have a slight delayed overall effect based on touch. Bones, being literal bones, can only be hurt by enough forced magic. The death touch is the only viable cause of death. So, who killed him? Everyone is likely, really. Even Vidlever, she knows about her powers. The others are likely, but due to them not being shown enough, we can only infer based on other media, MSM Clavaver's lore, and heritage biology. However, in correlation to our theory, the mom and grandma started this, right? One of them killed Scapular, my name for him. Valentina reasons, get him out of the way for her plan. Supports Vidlever too much. Too good-hearted. Clavabuela reasons, get him out of the way for the plan. Useless for her daughter. However, they most likely knew that Scatbop would be taking care of Scapular. They wanted him out of the spotlight, never to be an issue again, without attracting suspicion. Why not make world-renowned, graduate, almighty doctor be unable to take care of a simple elderly person? Genius. Setting the monster community back years, possibly a decade in terms of medical research, was just icing on the cake, and made work easier. Even more to reword, I believe they eliminated Scapular in order to covert Vidlever. In MSM, only Epic Clavar is not happy. Rare and normal at least have Pep show a hint of a smile. Here, they are in perpetual frowns and yells. Scapular is just born like that, so he has a valid excuse. The elder Clavs do not. All this was not just for their plan, but for Vidlever to grow bitter, resent, and to always look with dismay. Yell, and never let your guard down. Even Gorm's kind suggestion ticked Valentina off the edge, and he ended up with quite some bruises. To summarize the lore so far, Valentina and Clavar killed Vidlever's father, and got the public to turn against Scapbop in order to carry out their plan to secretly cause mass death to the Gormverse, and covert their innocent daughter into another pawn. This is not the end of this lore. You see, we can't forget Gorm, the main character of this whole universe. You might be wondering, how does he play into the Prism Gate plan? Here, Gorm feats, based on Gormfoot 2 cartoon force, not confirmed how strong it is, can change into various forms, like a ball, drill, and waffle. Can survive with all the skin protecting his organs peeled off and exposed. Has survived a literal death touch just by feeling dead. Can grow arms at will at intense emotion peaks. Asterisk might be able to have different power levels depending on emotions. Has enough mythical energy to not only conjure up a Drea mythical break box, but have him exist in a physical, real-world plane. Has high stamina, willpower, also linked to emotion, can use leaves to type. Grab has survived being the result of an epic X monster, which is heavy taboo and usually results in deformities. Can still live as spirit even when dead with these powers. Shouldn't Gorm be a threat, second to Goylet? He would, however. Gorm has an extreme lack of self-confidence and judgment, occasionally thinking that everyone would be better off without him. The most we see of his feats is him being a result of an epic breeding, surviving with all his organs hanging out, and becoming dead inside to be immune to Vidlever's death touch. Besides the whole self-projection in real life, what canon-wise reason could Gorm have to be like this? Also, this has been a bit tough to do, as Gorm has deleted a lot of his older community posts for some reason, only being available in compilations, and even then, some comics might not be in those, potentially leaving out key lore. Back to the lore theory. The reason why Gorm is like this comes down to his childhood and experiences. Gorm was bullied as a kid, and that only grew as he got older. Seeing his sister pelted with stones, being beat up by his significant other's mom, dealing with self-doubt, getting ragged on by a lot of people, it wears a dude down. I can relate to this a bit. You lose your true self, and fall into a bout for a bit, but that bout sometimes has no exit. No escape. That's what Gorm powers are being limited by. Every single beating. If we account his power level equivalent to the feats of the Gorm world, he could beat his family, the Clav family breakbox in Damini Meek, all minor medium monsters. Shitcoin forgot to mention this, but Gorm has shown multiple times in a Chad a humanoid form. Unknown whether this is canon to Gorm or not, but due to the nature of when this appears, usually thoughts and crack posts, it is safe to say until further notice that Gorm Sigma is not canon. Uneasy face. Pairing this back to the whole Clav family mass death conspiracy, it's pretty easy to see why the Clav elders are like this. They don't want anyone getting in the way of their plans, resorting to physical and emotional violence to get their ways.